trying to make a difference.
No, I'm sorry, it's not going to be in the system.
But in over their heads.
Wow.
Staffers stretched to the limit.
What's the trainer doing, cleaning out kennels?
And adoptions have hit rock bottom.
They've been at the shelter for 8 years.
For 8 years.
With time running out,
They'll probably have to euthanize about 50 dogs today.
Just at that shelter.
Yeah.
survival will take a massive effort.
Good girl, good, good.
Some tough love.
You're not doing enough to make the shelter successful.
And an extraordinary surprise
And there's also one more thing.
that will leave everyone speechless. Expert dog trainer Victoria Stilwell has a passion for improving the lives of dogs all across America. And today, she's making a special trip to a no-kill rescue shelter.
There are millions of dogs languishing in shelters all across America. While these temporary homes can provide a second chance to many dogs, shelter life is highly stressful, and stress affects dogs' behavior. When a dog spends a prolonged period in the shelter, its chances of being rehomed become much smaller. And a shelter that isn't adopting out dogs quickly enough may soon find itself in big trouble.
Paws Atlanta is definitely in a situation where we're struggling. The first impression someone's going to have when they come to Paws Atlanta, they may see it as a little bit disorganized.
No, I'm sorry, it's not going to be in the system.
If they come here and it looks messy, it's unkempt, the dogs are noisy, and they come in and it's a crazy state of affairs, they aren't going to stay long. They're going to look at one or two dogs and then split.
Is a challenge day to day of just trying to run the place. We look more like a refugees camp than we do an animal shelter. But it's just the lack of the money and the lack of the time. You can't get anything done.
Some of the dogs look kind of sad, kind of depressed, and some of them look like, I can't wait to get out of here.
Our adoptions right now are down. We're not getting as many dogs adopted here as we would like to. Paws Atlanta definitely could use help.
Before she can help the shelter and its dogs, Victoria needs to make a closer inspection.
Hello.
Hello, Victoria. Thank you very much for coming out to Paws Atlanta.
Hey.
Pleasure to meet you. We really need your help.
How many dogs do you get in here? I mean, how?
We currently have about 60, but on any given business day, we'll get between 30 to 50 people who approach us with dogs, and oftentimes the answer is no, just because of our space here. And
You're
that's
saying
30 to 50.
30 to 50 per
Day.
day?
Yeah. Maybe we'll do 3 adoptions a day. Maybe.
So 30 to 50 people wanting to surrender their animals,
Yes.
but 3 adoptions a day.
Yeah.
Okay. When I first met Trey, I saw how stressed he was. Trey told me that on a good day, they only adopt out a few animals. And there are some days where they don't adopt out any at all. And that tells me right away that this shelter is in bad shape.
So here are the outside runs.
Okay?
Some of the dogs have these coverings. Some of the dogs have the older coverings. There's tents.
My first impression of seeing the outdoor runs was this place is falling apart. Some of the kennel runs barely had roofs over them. So what? Why isn't there any information on cages like this? Like, who is this dog?
Only because at the tape on the cage, I know that's Zephyr.
So if an adopter comes here, they're going to have absolutely no idea about.
They'll have no idea.
One thing I really did notice is that there are very few kennel cards on the kennels. You have no idea who the dog is, where they've come from, what their behaviors are, nothing.
Hey, Philip. Hi, Victoria. This is Philip.
Hi.
Nice to
Hello,
meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Philip is the shelter manager.
Yes, I am the shelter manager here.
How many volunteers do you have here?
We have about 3,200 in our database, but we've only...
3,200?
3,200, but when you say 3,200, you think, well, God, you got enough help. You should be able to, make this place excellent all the time. But with me not being able to dedicate my life to the volunteers right now, I can't convey to them exactly what we need.
Okay. Volunteers are vital to the successful running of a shelter. Why are those volunteers not being utilized? All right, I'm getting a better picture. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Let's see some more dogs up here.
As a no-kill shelter, Paws never euthanizes healthy animals. That means they're committed to a dog's care until it finds a home, which can take a long time.
Hey, girls. So this is Betty and Barbara.
Okay.
These are the 2 dogs that were sanctuaried about 2 years ago.
When a dog has been deemed a sanctuary dog, it means that they're going to live the rest of their lives in the shelter. And some dogs have lived at the shelter so long that they're really at the point of no return. They cannot live anywhere else. So the longer that you can't adopt a dog out, the less dogs you take in, and then the more dogs elsewhere that could have come in here are going to be euthanized because of the lifers that are here.
Correct, yes. Like I know that today is the kill day for the local shelter, and on average, they'll probably have to euthanize about 50 dogs today.
Just at that
yeah,
shelter.
yeah, and it's a tough, frustrating thing to get your head around.
Paws doesn't have the resources to be a sanctuary. They have to adopt dogs out, so that can make room for other dogs to come in that would otherwise be euthanized. It's a vicious cycle, and it's really heartbreaking. Hello. Hi.
Having toured the outdoor facilities with Trey, Victoria heads inside to meet the office staff.
Tell me what it's like working on the front desk here.
It can be really, really frustrating. We don't have the budget, we don't have the facility, we don't have the room, you know, that larger places do. It never gets any easier dealing with the amount of phone calls and the sad stories and the sad animals that we hear about all day.
Could I see the rest of your facility? Because I've
Sure.
seen outside. I'd like to
Okay.
see inside now.
Absolutely.
Is that all right?
Come
Okay.
right through this door.
Thank you.
JD,
Hey,
this is Victoria. This is
Hi.
JD, my full-time trainer.
trainer. What's a trainer doing cleaning out kennels?
We're really short-staffed right now, so we're all kind of having to fill in.
Do you get any time to train dogs?
Not right now.
All of these dogs that come here have been abandoned by their owners. And because of the amount of stress, it's even more important that training be done in this kind of environment to help the dogs cope. But JD just doesn't have time. So tell me about these.
This guy right here is Sinatra. He's been with us about 7 months. Normally a cute little guy. He's a little unusual with the blue eyes. Should have flown out of here. We actually do have someone who really wants him.
Oh, really?
Has absolutely fallen in love with him. Took him home for a couple of days, and he chased her cats around.
Sinatra's a typical example of why JD's job as a trainer is so important. With just a little bit of training each day, Sinatra could find a home, no problem.
Another long-term resident in desperate need of training is 2-year-old mixed breed Georgia. She's been at the shelter for 4 months.
Hey, Georgia.
So
Hey, little girl.
why is she sort of kept separate like this?
Well, as you can see, she's very friendly with people. She doesn't quite feel the same way about other dogs.
So Victoria has a staff member bring a dog by so she can see Georgia's reaction.
Georgia reacted as the dog walked past her. A lot of dogs do get very kennel or cage aggressive because they're cooped up, they're in a confined space.
Lack of space and stress of shelter life affect some dogs worse than others.
This is Lenny. This is the dog with the obsessive behavior.
Let's take him out. There are a lot of examples of stressed out dogs here. Case in point, a dog called Lenny.
All right, let's go, big guy.
That is a beautiful dog with a great personality, but is stressed to the point where he's now got a compulsive disorder where he keeps chasing and biting his tail to the point where it is bleeding. What have you tried to do to stop him?
We have him on some calming medication.
Right.
He's one of our trouble boys.
When dogs are stressed out, they can develop certain stressed behaviors, such as pacing, whining, barking, chewing, and in some cases, self-mutilation. Come on then, mister.
Let's go, Lenny. Good boy.
Now that she's seen some of the dog's individual problems, Victoria takes a look at a room JD is supposed to be using to acclimate dogs to a home environment.
Dogs that are in the shelter for a long time forget what it's like to be in a domestic situation. So having a simulated domestic environment is really, really important because it makes the transition much, much easier. From shelter to a home, the dog knows how to behave.
So this used to be what we would call the holodeck. As you can see, we had some furniture in here, and we just kind of come and sit with the dogs. Unfortunately, it has gone to storage.
This is great space. And I
Yeah.
think it's vitally important that you give the dogs some home time.
Yeah.
They have a wonderful resource with this room, but they're not using it. Just like they're not using JD as a trainer. Just like they're not using the thousands of volunteers that they have on their list. And if they don't get their act together, this shelter and the dogs are gonna be in real trouble.
Coming up, the staff hears the painful truth.
You're not doing enough to make the shelter successful.
And Lenny faces a brand new fear.
This just breaks my heart.
Victoria Stilwell has discovered a desperate state of affairs at the Paws Atlanta Rescue Shelter. Now, she needs to sit down with the core staff for crisis talks.
Right now, Paws is averaging 45 adoptions a month. But there are shelters this size that are doing 3 times that number. There is no way that Paws is doing everything they can, and I'm gonna tell them why. I want to applaud you for the work that you do here, because I know it's not easy. But you're not doing enough to make the shelter successful. You need to have more adoptions, there's no doubt about that. I've been looking at similar no-kill shelters that are similar size to you, and some of them do at least 250 adoptions a month. Pretty
250?
250.
For a shelter that houses about 100?
200. The turnover is rapid, 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 rapid.
Wow.
And that brings me to my next point. I'm walking past those cages, those kennel runs, and I'm looking at these tiny little cards when they're on the cages, because most of them don't have cards, so you have no idea what that dog is. You don't know how old it is. You don't know where it came from. You don't know maybe any behavior problems that it has or what are its good points. You don't know, should this be a family dog? Because it's not on a kennel card. Where are your kennel cards? The reason why I've gathered you in this room is because I think it symbolizes perfectly what this shelter's all about. Because look around you. Disorganized, dysfunction, messiness, space that could be used, but is not. Everything's falling down. Get this stuff out of here. JD, you're cleaning a kennel. But you're the trainer. Trainers are vitally important. You can help these animals cope with the stress of shelter life. You can take that difficult dog like Georgia. In 4 months that she's been here, she could be out of here by now if JD had the time to work with her. You, Philip, you're supposed to be the manager, you're supposed to be the volunteer coordinator, but you're spending all your time maintaining the place. You've got over 3,000 volunteers on your books. Where are they? There are some dogs in the shelter that really concern me, not just Georgia, but there's Sinatra. There's Lenny. Lenny's so stressed out, so bored and unstimulated, he's now chasing his tail and biting it until it bleeds. So what can we improve with the resources that we have? How can we make it better? The only thing that these animals have done wrong in their lives is to be born. So you are their champions. And we're going to make the shelter a much more efficient running, more successful place than it is being now, okay?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Victoria was pretty blunt with us. It was kind of harsh to hear that we've still got such a long way to go because we know we have come so far.
Everybody needs to have a fire lit on them sometimes. Everybody gets into a rut, and you need a fresh look from the outside to actually understand what you need to be focusing more on.
Victoria's first change is to ensure potential adopters get clear information on the dogs.
I want people to come round here and read about the dog that they're looking at.
Okay.
And I want them to have a little bit of information about where this animal's found.
Okay.
And then a few behavioral things. You know, what does this animal like doing? What does Sinatra like doing?
Right.
Maybe Sinatra's not great with cats. You know, some information, you know, that really makes a dog come alive.
Okay.
So a person doesn't just see a sad face on the other side of this fence. A person can really envision this dog in their home.
Yeah.
It's really celebrating the dogs that you have here. And it's got to be as big as this. Beautiful. All right. Compared to that. Okay. Do you like that,
Yes, I
Heather?
do. Thank you.
All right.
The cage cars is great because it's big and bold and it's right there and you can't miss it.
I really want Heather to embrace the new kennel cards. It might seem a small thing, but it's gonna go a long way to getting adoptions.
With their new kennel cards in place, Victoria wants to put the shelter's simulated home environment to its proper use.
We're gonna create the home away from home. We are gonna make that what it was originally made for.
Sweet.
Reinstating this room is gonna be so important for these dogs because it's gonna make that transition from shelter to home life just that little bit easier. Grab anything.
I can feel a garage sale coming on.
Let's start bringing the stuff in. It's amazing what you can do with a lot of people in a very quick amount of time. We've turned that room from a junk room into a domestic environment so the dogs can be brought up here and they can get the idea of what it's like to be in a home.
Now that the room is complete, Victoria wants to see how Lenny, who was abandoned at Paws 4 months ago, will react.
He is showing signs of stress, and I don't know whether he's ever been in a home before.
Hey, what is this place, huh?
Hey,
Look at all this stuff, Lenny.
oh, it's okay. See, this happens so much. When Lenny first came in, he was terrified.
What do you think about that, huh? What do you think about that?
They're just so freaked out. They come from the shelter environment that they know now, and you bring them into this room, and they're like, oh my gosh.
It's amazing to see a dog with just everyday items in a house, you know, be so scared of them.
This just breaks my heart. It was so obvious by Lenny's reaction to just being in a simple room that he'd never been in a home. Very scared over there, isn't he?
Hey, bud, good job.
Good. Good boy, Lenny. It would be so good if you could bring Lenny into this room every day, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, just so that he has experience and he's comfortable. And that is going to make the transition into a home so much easier for him. He's much more relaxed now. He's a good boy. As the trainer here, JD, you've got to make sure that this room doesn't go to storage again.
I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, you're taking charge now.
Seeing how Lenny reacted in the room makes me want to make sure that we use that room every day and make sure as many dogs get in there every day as possible.
Coming up, Victoria revolutionizes the training program at Paws.
Good girl, good.
And later,
And there's also one more thing.
the staff gets the surprise of their lives. Victoria Stilwell's shelter rescue is underway.
We're gonna take initiative.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Just like all animal shelters, resources at Paws are tight. So Victoria has identified a key group of people to assist volunteers.
Okay, everybody, this is Tara, JD, and Philip.
When I walked to the fence there and seen all the people gathered around, it kind of shocked me a little bit. I'm thinking to myself, why are all these people back here?
It took me less than an hour to drum up these people. If I can do that in an hour, you can do that very easily.
Paws has never called me, and it'd be great if they did. We'd definitely come down and volunteer more often.
I want you to see that there are people who are passionate about dogs. If you reach out to them, they're gonna come to you. Because there hasn't been a lot of reaching out being done. Okay. 2 people go with Philip, okay? And the rest of you guys stay with me. JD, if you can get Lenny.
The first group of volunteers heads off to assist Philip with the day-to-day care of the animals.
Always go by this board. It'll tell you the type of food that the dog is on.
I love coming out, helping, do anything I can to help get the dogs adopted.
Meanwhile, JD teaches the second group to take over some of the more basic training.
Shake. Yes, good boy.
I couldn't believe how quickly he caught on. He's just such a cute dog. I hope that we would be able to work with him so he can get his home.
With the volunteers happy to continue basic obedience training, Victoria focuses in on a few dogs with more severe problems, starting with Georgia.
When I first came to the kennel, I saw that Georgia was very reactive inside her kennel when a dog was walked by. But I want to see now what she's like when she's outside of her kennel and not confined.
Victoria's asked another member of the staff to bring in a non-reactive dog.
So here Bear is. A big dog, so that's quite threatening. Good girl. She looks, I treat. Good. Nice. I want her to be able to see the other dog. Good girl.
Every time Georgia looked at Bear and didn't react, that positive behavior was recognized and she was treated.
Then Victoria raises the stakes, having Bear walk by as JD takes over.
Good girl. Yes, good girl, Georgia. Good job.
The fact that she has the ability to be close to another dog and not react is immediately going to make her more adoptable.
I wanted Georgia to have the opportunity to greet Bear, but greeting from behind, which is much less confrontational, and only for a little bit, so she didn't have any time to react.
Now let us sniff. Okay, now take her off in the other direction. Good girl, good.
Good job.
Nice. It's really important to follow the non-bitey end to begin with. Much less threatening for your dog.
I think it went really well. Georgia was pretty non-reactive to Bear. That just gives me hope and makes me think, you know, just getting the dogs a little bit of work here will make them much more adoptable.
With Georgia hopefully on the right track, Victoria turns her attention to Sinatra, whose impulsive behavior has kept him from being adopted in the past.
Dogs like Sinatra get adopted very quickly from shelters. JD has told me that there's a potential adopter who's interested in having him, but he chases her cats. So this is something that I want to work on.
So I'm going to teach him the leave it command. The leave it command is a really good cue to use when you want a dog to leave something, and that can really apply to the cats. So I'm waiting for Sinatra to take his face away before I give him the treat. How's he gonna get this treat out of my hand? Good boy. Now what I'm doing is not giving him the thing that he leaves from my right hand, it's gonna get it from my left. Because ultimately, you don't want the dog to have the thing that he leaves. Leave it. Good boy. I'm gonna put it on the ground, make it a little harder for him. Leave it. Leave it. Good boy. Beautiful. Beautiful. Wow, that's difficult for a terrier, isn't it? Sinatra was able to listen to the leave it command, and he was able to control his impulses, and that's a really good sign. I would like to see if there was any way that we could have a very chilled out cat that is used to dogs and see what his reaction is.
Yeah, I think we could try it.
So JD brings in one of the cats living at the shelter to serve as the ultimate temptation.
Leave it. Good. Good boy. But the very fact that he looked at him and then he made the decision to look away was really good.
As soon as Sinatra saw the cat, he was very interested. But I gave him the leave it command, and he held himself back, and that was a huge improvement.
Good boy. Good job.
Coming up,
I've just got one more thing for you.
Victoria's secret plans are finally revealed. Victoria Stilwell has been working to revitalize the Paws Animal Rescue Center. Now, she wants to return her focus to Lenny, who's been struggling with the stress of shelter life for over 4 months.
People don't like to see a crazy animal. People like to see an animal that has already learned some sort of inhibition in their behavior. And so I just want to teach just a simple wait.
Teaching Lenny impulse control will not only increase his adaptability, it will stimulate him mentally. And when a dog is stimulated mentally, he's tired out. Therefore, there's less chance of him focusing on bad behaviors, such as chasing his tail.
Good boy, good boy. I love that because there he was trying to jump to get the food from me, and he wasn't getting anything. And then he went, okay, I guess I sit, don't I? And then he got it, and he did. Good boy. It's just a moment of stillness. Good boy.
Once Lenny learns the behavior, Victoria attaches the command to the action.
Wait. Good. Come here. Wait. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy.
Now, Victoria wants JD to apply the command during a walk.
Wait. Good boy.
Lovely attention.
Building up a language of communication with all the dogs is going to be easily translated to the adopters of these dogs. I really hope that JD can see this, see how effective it is, and then really do everything she can to keep up with the training.
With her new training program in place, Victoria has one last revelation for the staff.
I really feel like I've given the staff here at Paws a lot of things that they need to do to help the shelter run effectively, but there's one thing that I haven't addressed that this place needs desperately.
I've just got one more thing for you. Lowe's is donating $250,000 in labor and materials to your shelter. They are going to redo the outside dog runs. They're going to help you with the inside, making that better for the dogs. They're going to build additional structures for you, for storage. They're going to landscape the whole property. They're donating 100 igloos.
Oh, wow.
You are going to have everything and anything you want.
That's great. Yeah.
I'm so excited. I never thought this kind of thing would happen to our sweet little shelter.
These are the Lowe's Heroes. And the Lowe's Heroes are over 3 to 4 days going to change this place around with over 140 volunteers.
Nice.
We want to help, and we think we can do some great things. We love Paws, and we're looking forward to making a great transformation of this facility.
Thank you so much. Because of you, so many more dogs' lives are going to be saved. Their time at the shelter is going to be so much better, and these amazing people aren't going to be overstretched and overwhelmed like they have been. So thank you so much. All right, thanks, guys. Having Lowe's come to the shelter and redo so much of it is going to help the dogs and the staff immeasurably. And there's also one more thing. We're going to do a major adoption fair. We're going to invite people in to tour the new property, and we're going to sell all the stuff that we've got in storage, and you're going to be able to make some money and adopt some dogs out. You have a foundation here, and all we're going to do is build on it. The adoption fair is going to mark a new era at Paws.
I don't even really have the words to express how I'm feeling right now. It's just the best thing that ever could have happened to this organization, and it's really going to bring new life to this shelter and to everybody that works here and, you know, to our community.
Coming up,
Thank you so much.
renovation gets underway.
Oh, wow, that is amazing.
And later, Victoria gets a glimpse of the extraordinary transformation.
Oh my gosh, look.
Victoria Stilwell has revealed a huge surprise to the staff at the Paws Rescue Shelter. A massive $250,000 makeover is about to begin.
Paws Atlanta really thanks you. You guys are really helping to make it the new shelter that it's going to be. You are absolutely awesome.
Great job.
Thank you so much.
But before they can build up, it's time to tear down.
crazy. So much stuff going on.
Wow, wow, wow. That is amazing. Look at that. Hello. Thanks for coming. This is unbelievable to see all of these volunteers here making such fast progress so quickly. It's more than I even dreamed of. It's all coming down.
By the end of the day, the entire outdoor kennel area has been raised, and the next morning, reconstruction can begin. With the professionals handling construction, Philip can focus on the volunteer program.
Hey, Pat, how are you doing today?
Knowing now that all of my maintenance list of literally 120 things that I had to do has gone down to 0. It's going to let me spend more time with the volunteers and get these volunteers in here to help us get more dogs adopted.
Outside, the new kennels are already taking shape. The shelter might have closed for renovation, but JD and the rest of the staff are still hard at work.
Yes.
Today, JD's working with Sinatra in the hopes that he can soon graduate to training in a real home.
Leave it. Yes. Good boy.
I've been working a lot with Sinatra, working the leave it command with him. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get Sinatra adopted.
Yes. Good job, Sinatra. Good boy. That's good work, bud.
Sinatra's not the only one showing progress. The landscaping phase of the renovation has begun. That afternoon, Victoria and JD are taking Sinatra on an important visit.
We actually do have someone who really wants him.
Oh, really?
And he chased her cats around.
His previous adopter wants to take him in again, but only if she's reassured her cats will be safe.
Hi, Gail. How's everything?
Good to see you.
It would mean the world to me to have Sinatra, but unfortunately it didn't work out with my cats, so I had to take him back to the shelter.
If you could go and get your cat.
Okay.
And just hold the cat there, hopefully it won't be too freaked out.
JD will only allow Sinatra to stay with Gail if he can control his impulses.
Sinatra. Sinatra, leave it. Good boy. Good job.
He still needs practice, but JD's training is proving effective.
What is nice about this is that now he's on a totally relaxed leash. So even though he's still leashed, it's not your pressure that's keeping him back. He's actually deciding for himself to sit there. He was able to refocus. He was able to listen to the leave it command, and he was able to self-inhibit his behavior. If that continues, then I hope there's going to be a positive outcome. I would suggest that you do more of this with JD being here and helping you. And I think with your dedication, I think hopefully, fingers crossed, it could be a future for all animals to exist in this house.
I'm not disappointed that it's going to take a little while for Sinatra to get used to the cats. It's just the natural instinct of the dog.
Coming up, time has run out for the paws makeover. What will Victoria think of the transformation?
Oh my gosh, look at that.
The day of the adoption fair has arrived, and Victoria is about to get her first look at the new and improved shelter.
Hey, Victoria.
Hey.
Welcome back. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Hey, Philip, how are you doing?
Good to see you.
Look at that.
Do you recognize the place?
No, I do not.
And this is just the front.
This is just the front.
Yeah. For when we do the vaccination clinics, when it gets hot, they've got shelter, they got fans under there, state-of-the-art outdoor
They've got fans.
Yeah, they got fans.
There?
Check it out.
So I want to see everything. I've been so excited to come back and just to see how it's all been going.
The first stop on the tour is the brand new outdoor kennels.
These are our new runs. They're all double fence now.
Such a great idea. And they've got proper roofs on, so you're not going to have to do maintenance. That is fantastic. All right, show me more. I want to see it all. It looks amazing.
Yes. The next stop is the park-like waiting area, where the dogs and adopters can get to know each other.
So adopters will come through there.
Yes, come out the back door.
And they see this.
Yes.
So instead of just seeing run down, cruddy stuff, they're gonna come out and it's a beautiful park and it looks great. I would be impressed. If I was an adopter coming here to adopt a dog, I'm impressed.
I like you're at a park.
Even more impressive is the throng of people waiting to get inside to see the new shelter for themselves.
Welcome to the adoption fair. In you go.
The shelter is busier than ever, and the public's response is extraordinary.
This was definitely one of the more friendly shelters here in the area in that they were asking questions, making sure we felt comfortable, making sure we got time with the dog instead of just looking at the dog behind a gate.
And when someone expresses interest in Georgia, JD is there to guide her through the process.
She is quite reactive around other dogs.
Okay.
But we've been working with her and getting her used to being around dogs, so she's been a little bit less reactive.
Okay.
So you want to take Georgia
I would
out
love
for a
to.
walk?
I'd love to.
There is somebody interested in Georgia, seriously interested in Georgia. And JD has gone through all of Georgia's difficulties. It's gone through the kind of training that Georgia is having, and it's looking very, very good, so fingers crossed.
Sinatra's potential adopter has also come along to the fair. She wants to update Victoria on the process with the training.
I've been working with him with my cats, and he just lost interest in the cats. So he ignored me. He ignored them.
I'm so glad. So don't chase cats and then you'll be fine.
So I do have a decision made that I would like to share with you guys. Sinatra is officially off the adoption list.
That's good. Oh.
Yes! No, you're gonna make me cry too.
I'm crazy.
JD's put a lot of work into Sinatra. So has Gail, so have I. But Gail and JD have worked especially hard so that this adoption is successful. I'm so glad. I'm so glad, dude. I'm so glad for you. Thank you, JD, for the work that you've done, because I think without that, I don't think this would be possible.
I'm indebted to JD and Paws Atlanta. Oh, yes.
You're not.
Yes.
It has been my privilege to get to do this.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
And thank you for adopting.
So this looks really good. Today has been nuts. It's been crazy. It's been wild. It's been fantastic. Everybody's been really excited, and I haven't seen so many adoptions going on at one time, and I don't think ever.
Meanwhile, a decision looms over Georgia's future.
So what do you think about Georgia?
I love her. I think she's definitely the dog for me.
Oh,
She's such a sweetheart. What a good girl.
Georgia, did you hear that?
What a good girl.
Did you hear that? Georgia, for me, was the best adoption of the day. You know, she's been here way too long, and, you know, she's such a sweet dog. I won't have to worry about her, you know, spending another night in the kennel.
I've witnessed a number of adoptions already. I mean, it's just so good. And I see everybody smiling. The joy on the faces of people who are adopting these animals just speaks for itself. Tell me, Tara, how well have we done today?
So far, 12 adoptions?
Yes.
So it's been a huge success.
Fantastic.
I can't remember the last time I've ever had, you know, over a dozen adoptions in one day. And they were good quality adoptions too. I mean, these dogs went to real good owners.
I'm going to leave you now, but I have to say that it's really heartwarming to see where you are now. You guys have always done what's in your hearts, but now you have everything else to make it much easier for you. Your whole facility is much better, your dogs are happier, and there are going to be more adoptions. So you're going to be able to rescue and save more dogs, and that is what this shelter is all about.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye. I'll see you. When I first came here, I saw a depressed shelter, a depressed staff, dogs that weren't getting adopted, dogs that had been here for a long, long time with behavioral problems. But now, with all the work that's been put in, the shelter is functioning beautifully. The facility looks incredible, the staff are happy, and dogs are getting adopted, and I couldn't have asked for anything better.
Since I've left, the staff at Paws have continued to build upon their strong foundation.
This is going to give you a free Get Established visit with your veterinarian within 7 days.
In the past few weeks, they've nearly doubled their volunteer participation.
Any other questions? Let's see our trail.
Donations are up 12%, and most important, adoptions have increased by a third.
Victoria really helped Paws Atlanta become one of those animal shelters that can save more dogs. Now that everything is clicking, the staff knows exactly what they should be doing. The shelter is magnificent with all the improvements. It's great. It really saved the shelter.
JD is now able to spend more of her time training and even following up with some of her former students.
Yes, good boy.
Sinatra is adjusting very well with the cats.
Georgia has grown accustomed to life outside the shelter, and she's had no problems interacting with dogs in her new neighborhood.
Oh, wow, look at you.
And I'm thrilled to report that just last week, Lenny finally found himself the home that he deserves.
I'm really excited about bringing Lenny home and making him a part of the family. Already, he seems to be a very loving dog.
Thanks for watching. If you love It's Me or the Dog and want more dog training tips and tricks, visit my official site, positively.com. And if you're interested in learning more about becoming a dog trainer, check out the Victoria Stilwell Academy. Links to both sites are in the description. I'll see you online.